What is up, guys? So, thankfully, these EFI videos are kicking off, and what has been requested is being answered. So far, many of you have seen the, I think it's Advanced EFI, Rotary Specific, and Fundamental video that I did at Matt's Engine Building Conference. That was out in Sacramento. Really cool event. We had Kyle Mohan and I think it was like 20 something of us. It's very, very busy event. Very fun. So that worked out really well. The video quality from that was on an iPhone, and they assembled the motor next to the phone that was being recording, and it was this whole fiasco with audio quality. I'm deeply apologetic on that, and I'm so sorry. Originally I charged $100 for that video. It has packed full of information with drive-by-wire stuff, ignition timing, split timing, a bunch of vehicle setup, and some very advanced theories that I think you guys can tell by now are all workings. They're really not theories when they work. It's just more some application device sort of thing. Anyways, Claudio of Tuning Technology, put together a fundamentals of EFI course, and it's going to be 10 videos total. Those are now on YouTube on the same channel. They are private, but I made the first 2 videos, which is a quick introduction and the kind of like indexing that he has planned out for a curriculum, as a second video. Those are both free. The package is going to be $200, which is covering, ignition timing, fueling, wiring, basic configuration, star point grounding. It is all sorts of trigger and crank angle sensor sort of in-depth chatting. Then we have all the screen sharing for certain software and how to set up if you had no base map whatsoever. I call out a bunch of different fuel system design flaws that I commonly see. It goes through so much in-depth quality information, and I don't think that anyone else online has this sort of information available. This is, to me, like the biggest bargain imaginable. But the thing is that moving forward on the advanced stuff, and I might have another set of courses between this, I need to have your input. I need to have some sort of guidance for the information that you are trying to find and are unable to. So behind me, there's this whole bookshelf, and there's a lot of layers to the bookshelf, right? A lot of these are engineering books, EFI books, Greg Banish stuff, Corky Bell. But the thing is that I know my certain things because I've experienced them hands-on. And there are very few tuners out there that are mechanically connected, we'll say, okay? They might be amazing with wiring. They might be amazing with, let's just say, smells and sounds and stuff like that. And in the video, if you look this way right here, there's a EMF gauge right above my yo-yos right there. And that's one of the things that I cover, that I actually learned hands-on with finally, with John of Legend Motorsports when we did a dyno day in Detroit. So to me, giving you guys the answers you're seeking directly is always the goal. There's it's so difficult. Imagine being a teacher, which is what I'm attempting to do at this point, to get everyone at the same level of information before we can move forward. And there's this big variance in experiences from all of you, right? So I'm trying to make sure we can get on a common ground first and then move forward with the more advanced stuff. And I'd love to just jump in and say ABC ends up with whatever Z that you want. The problem is it doesn't work that way. And real world formulas for getting to certain places, the sum of the parts can sometimes be greater than the total of the individual parts. So we're trying to find synergy in all of the work that we're doing, whether it be through fuel system selection, turbo selection. I talked about this in all the videos in the past with how I'm sizing turbos and such, how to read a compressor map, how to balance and set a base fuel pressure based on injector sizing and fuel pumps. And it really does come down to optimization of what you have in hand, using the sensors that you are given and making the best guess you can for finding a mechanical limitation off of those sensors. Now, I say mechanical limitation because most people who run pump gas are asking for X number of power. Well, pump gas is erratic, okay? You are going to be more likely to knock if you go from gas station to gas station, state to state, elevation to elevation. All of these things come into effect for the quality of your fuel. And so, because pump gas is so erratic from different things, we can't really get to a, let's say, a power margin or the factor of safety on pump gas has to be larger to account for a different variance of the fuel. This also comes into play for winter versus summer blends or temperature of the fuel itself. If you have multiple fuel pumps running at all times and the fuel is actually cavitating and boiling inside the tank. So pump gas has its limitations. So then we step up to something like race gas or water meth injection, which at some point now we have an ignition limitation for that fuel or for the additive to the fuel. I wrote something on David Mazet's page. I could probably find it in a second, but that whole thing is when you go and you add water to a direct port, if you're running a standard ignition 1A, the ignition power that you have at 8,000 RPM might only be 75 millijoule of energy. And when you're now drowning the motor with additional water for cooling, well, that 75 millijoule that used to do the fueling alone is not enough energy to blow through the new water that is now, atomized into the air charge. So you're spark limited at that setup, and you're losing power even though you have the same fuel or near the same fuel. So the spark energy ends up being your restriction at that point. We aim to always have mechanical as our restriction. That means you have adequate fuel system, you have something like a CDI spark, and you have plenty of spark to go through anything you could need. And then we're just saying, okay, S4 and A plates crack at this torque rating. Like, we want to have a torque or a horsepower that is a limitation for an engine, not a fuel and not a spark system. So the main point of this video, it's been a little long-winded here, is I need to know exact points of reference to where I can inform you guys the better way of answering your questions. So it's going to come down to, what do you guys need to learn about, or what's something that you've been searching for that you have been unable to find, whether it's online through different course academy sort of things, or something that you want me to explain in the real world that happens on a car, or how I'm able to find certain limitations in a safe manner I mean, there was a whole Facebook post about like 150 comments deep about pretty good at not blowing up motors, I guess. But, then again, I'm not pushing that hard either. So, learning to find limitations of engines is very important, and reading your sensor data at the right time and seeing how certain things are coming to play, saying, hey, we have this mechanical fault, we have this whatever loss, or an undulation in a fuel pressure spike, all at the same fuel rail, something like that could all be pointing to mechanical fault and how to improve the overall vehicle and its operation before a fault occurs. So do your best to write some stuff in comments. I want to see what you guys come up with for the next part of the video series. We have, like I said, that engine building seminar video that I have on the website for $100. We have 10 fundamental of EFI videos, 10 of them, and they're like 35 to 40 minutes long, for $200 on the website. And then we're going to have an advanced course, at least a part 1 in fueling, and then we're going to have an advanced course in ignition, an advanced course in turbo selection, and then we're going to kind of fill in the gaps based on what you guys are looking for specifically to move forward in your understanding. The whole point of your understanding more, instead of someone doing this work for you, is, one, it takes workload off of myself, Claudio, whoever else is tuning. 2, you can call bullshit when you see it. That is such a valuable tool. It is something to where, seeing X power output, blah, 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 and whether they're running this tiny little turbo, not going to call out names here or anything, but it's like, we know you're not doing that on pump gas, or we know because of this, that turbo is being overspun by 30%, or that thing was iced down perfectly before that run, and the thing has been off for 2 weeks, whatever. There's no heat soak in that. It's not real world. The point is that I'm trying to make sure you guys know how to sniff the bullshit so that you can be better informed and to make better decisions for your friends, your vehicles, whatever the case may be. So reach out, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully a lot of you enjoyed those new EFI videos. If you haven't checked them out yet, they're going to be at tuningtechnology.net on Claudio's website, and I think you'll really get to learn a few things that you would have never thought to even look for. So one other thing, if you guys don't like this video series at all, obviously set up 4K camera, lighting, put it up in my room, did this sort of thing, and I've partnered up with Claudio on this. If there's something that you don't like with either the partnership or me, if it's a waste of my time, let me know, because I'd rather either be productive in another avenue or something else. If this sort of thing doesn't make sense to you or doesn't feel educational, pinpoint it, and I want to see where it can be improved, right? And if you've got a guest in mind to have in and say, hey, let's have this person's a specialist in this, let's have a conversation about that. Anything to grow the quality and dynamics to what you're looking for, I'm game. Let's try it out. It's a new year. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers, y'all.